My baby just needs me. I birthed my baby for 9 months. My baby don't need nobody but me. That man don't love my baby. What about the culture of making women think that those thoughts are okay?
But we want to know our mothers, and we also want to know our fathers. And let me make it clear, when you don't know not just where you come from, but who you come from, it causes distress.
Because he's fighting for his kids, and he doesn't know if this is going to be a 10-year battle, a 2-year battle, an 18-year battle.
First thing that he can do to protect himself from a great deal of anxiety is to change his expectations.
Our greatest fears isn't losing our children. Our greatest fears is our children thinking that we as men, we as fathers.
Let's use the F word, that we failed them. Anxiety is rooted in expectation. Court is meant to be fair. No, it is not. This country is not built on fairness. It's built on justice. Now, when I use the word justice, people think of fairness. They use those words interchangeably. Justice is predicated on the law, not necessarily what is righteous.
What's going on, guys? It's Bernard MP back with another episode of Father's Win. For everybody who's here for the drama, for everybody who's here for the entertainment, everybody who's here for the breakdown analysis of the court proceedings, that will be coming up in the next video, I promise you. But if you're on a shift right now, if you're a shift worker, if you're a long truck driver, if you are going to the office, coming home from the office, this episode is for men when it comes on to mental health. I know that this channel has exploded in the last month, and I thank you all so much for watching it. But I think that it's also my responsibility to tackle all things pertaining to fathers' advocacy. And as
Absolutely.
you guys know, we don't bash women on this channel. But as you guys know, we are very, very, very aware that men seem to always get the short end of the stick as it pertains to family court, whether that's because of a lack of knowledge, or whether that's because of a lack of funds, or whether that's just because of the stress involved in navigating family court. So I have today an amazing person, a colleague of mine, a friend, Joshua Henry. He is a college professor, and I always get this wrong. He is a clinician, a therapist, a psychologist. He's way smarter than me.
I'm an educator, man. I like to go by educator because in everything that I do, I'm simply educating people so that they can live a better life.
Yes.
No matter what title I hold, I'm always going to go by educator because I truly believe that when you know more, you'll do more. Just like when they say you know better,
You do better.
You do better.
You know why I believe you? Because when you say stuff like that, you never end with, and if you buy my PDF, you too. You're like, there's no sell.
I struggle. They keep telling me to sell, Kev. They keep telling me. That's why I started YouTube, because the commercials will pay me rather than these people. Because I have a hard time selling. They'd be like, if you just charge them this, I'm like, how do I charge somebody who already struggling?
Well, usually I know when it comes on to interviews, we wait till the end. But let's do it now and at the
Beautiful.
end. How can somebody, or where can somebody go on YouTube to learn more about you?
They can simply go to youtube.com/Ask Mr. Henry. So that's at Ask Mr. Henry.
Is there also a website?
Right, currently, not right now, actually.
Okay.
I actually set my website aside for a time.
Well, what did your website offer?
So on my website, and I'm redoing the website currently, it offered a series of resources in the form of worksheets, as well as just my contact to be able to book in-person classes. So I love helping people in 3 areas: relationship with themselves, relationship with others, and their relationship with their money. I truly believe that you understanding your psychology and your finances will completely change your life. So those 3 areas, your relationship with yourself, others, and money, that is what I focus on.
Man, I love it. I love it. And tell us, what is your actual title? We know you're a college professor. We know you do something with mental health. What is your title?
So I am officially Professor Henry. I actually teach for a local university here, but I am a local professor. I've been doing that for quite a while. I truly do love teaching. I can't see any future where I become so famous that I stop teaching at a university. I love working with young adults who are getting out in the world and are trying to figure out, who am I? What is my relationship to other people? And what the hell am I trying to accomplish? Yeah. So as it pertains to mental health, like you talked about, As I spoke with a lot of therapists and psychiatrists, there is a difference, as you and I have talked in the past, and just different people in the mental health world. The same thing kept coming up.
What's that?
If they learn about their psychology early on, they can prevent quite a few disorders. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's no different than the physical medical world, right? In terms of, hey, if you exercise and eat right, you can prevent a list of different diseases and disorders and all sorts of things, right? Mental health is no different. That if you learn it early on and practice just a few things, you can actually prevent quite a few disorders or quite a few disruptions to your life.
Okay, that's the perfect segue. This being Father's Win, we have so many good men in this country.
Absolutely.
This amazing, beautiful country of the United States of America. And we know that family court is supposed to be fair. Most every single state has some type of written legal doctrine that says we believe both mother and father are equally good parents. But there is still a culture that hangs over family court. And we watch it in these videos every week on this channel. Moms a lot of times get favorable treatment. For example, we had a video the other day where a mom is yelling, calling out, asking questions that are inappropriate, and the judge never held her in contempt. The judge never even reprimanded her, just kept telling her, you can't do that, you can't do that. But the second the father, and this is no diss to judges, we know they have a hard job, but the second the father acts out of turn, he's reminded so quickly, hey, even though you don't have a lawyer, I have to treat you as one. Hey, it's your responsibility to know how the court system runs. Hey, don't talk out of turn. What can a man who is struggling with the family court system do to protect his mental health? Because he's fighting for his kids and he doesn't know if this is going to be a 10-year battle, a 2-year battle, an 18-year battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kev, the first thing that he can do to protect himself from a great deal of anxiety is to change his expectations.
What is that?
Anxiety is rooted in expectation. I expect, insert blank. I expect, and typically it's negative. I expect some type of negative situation in terms of I expect to be disappointed. I expect my arm to fall off. I expect myself to be broke, right? There's some expectation that either A, you're trying to avoid.
Okay.
Or B, you're upset at it not happening. So either I'm worried my expectation isn't going to be fulfilled because I think it's good, or B, I'm trying to avoid an expectation in my mind. Now, why is that important? You said it earlier. Court is meant to be fair. No, it is not.
What do you mean?
Court is not meant to be fair.
What do you mean?
Court is not meant to be fair. This country is not built on fairness. It's built on justice. Just the Pledge of Allegiance said injustice for all. Now, when I use the word justice, people think of fairness. They use those words interchangeably. And you know I'm big on vocabulary. You know I'm big on vocabulary.
To the point where sometimes it infuriates me.
Trust me, you should look. You know my lady get frustrated as well. That's a whole nother story for another episode. So, but it's important to understand that justice is predicated on the law, not necessarily what is righteous. So, as a father who has gone through the divorce experience,
how many children do you have?
2.
Beautiful kids, by the way.
People get on my nerves sometimes, but they're beautiful.
Can't handle kids sometimes.
So sometimes I'll be trying not to can't catch a case. You know, the court is for justice. Justice is predicated on the laws.
Right.
And so if you think about the law allows judges to use their best judgment. So if a judge chooses not to hold a mom accountable in court, that's justice. It's not righteousness. It's not fairness, but it is according to the law.
My gosh.
So if as a father, if I don't change my expectation, what do you think is going to happen when I'm disappointed over and over and over and over again? Okay. I'm glad you said that. Then we're going to segue into something real quick. Absolutely.
I'm going to cut right here. I'm going to show the audience this video. This comedian TK Kirk.
What's your advice to men who want to be good fathers, but they can't see their kids because of the relationship with the mother?
Yeah.
What's your advice to that man?
Have another family.
Start another family.
Yeah, have other children.
So
you're going to do it anyway. It's just nobody tells the truth. If you don't see your kid, you wish them the best, the mama got control. And you got to come to grips with it. You can't be knocking on the door screaming, let me see my seed and all that.
Do you agree with that video clip? Is this what you mean by adjust your expectation?
That's not what I mean by just by
Okay.
So,
Me neither.
so
Me neither.
on one hand, I do understand where the brother's coming from.
Yeah.
There are many men who are going to get remarried. So over 85% of people, that includes a lot of people say, I'm never going to do this again. Look, I know folks that have gone through 4 marriages like water. 85% of people that are divorced are remarried within 5 years.
Why do you think that is?
Life is long and life gets lonely.
Come on.
And one of the worst things is to not have somebody who witnesses your life along the way.
Okay.
Let me say it again. One of the worst things is to not have one person witness your life along the way. Now, it could be a best friend, but a best friend is probably going to start their own life, and they're not going to be able to see your life in detail every day. The truth is, we treat a significant other, honestly, like a camcorder. They're the record of our life. They mirror it back at us so that we can see it. Now, as it pertains to this video, men are not knocking on the door just because they want to see their kid. They're knocking on the door because they have a deep, deep fear of the worst case scenario. Do you know what the worst case scenario is?
Their children dying?
No, it's worse than that.
Them dying alone and their kids abandoning them?
Worse than that. Dad, you ain't never did for me. Dad, you weren't there and you ain't teach me. Dad, where did you go? Dad, you're the same as possibly your dad or all them other deadbeat dads that you never said you would never be. That's worst case scenario. That fear, remember how we talked about anxiety and expectation that we're trying to avoid? If I'm not there fighting, I expect my child to hate me and say, I wasn't there for them, I abandoned them. And that makes me a deadbeat dad that I said I would never be.
So you just said something so thought-provoking. Our greatest fears isn't losing our children. Our greatest fears is our children thinking that we as men, we as fathers, we're inadequate.
That we failed them. Let's use the F word. That we failed them. Come here, son. Come here, son. Now, these are our sons. Say what's up, son. Say hi. Okay.
This is what we do it for. This is what we do it for.
Okay, give me 1 second to talk, okay?
Okay.
So, you want to get down? Look, my son is restless. But one of the worst things is the thought of that young boy looking at me one day and saying, what the fuck did you do for me? What do you do with that?
You feel terrible. So are you telling me, Kev, the real anxiety that comes from all this family court stuff as it pertains to fathers is a father wants to fight his darnness so his child doesn't have the ability to say, Dad, you weren't there. Because that's his legacy and that's his character on the line. And those are the things that he's doing it for. That's why he's getting up every day.
Yeah.
She can leave. She can go find another boyfriend. I don't care. But my kids, that's my legacy. And I have to be there for them. And when you or a court system tries to get in the way of my physical time with them or my ability to bond with them, that's what I'm fighting for. That's what the anxiety is.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that understood. And that was very deep.
Yeah.
Now, how is a man supposed to change his expectation? What do you mean by that?
This is the painful part, and this is why, honestly, whether you go work with a coach, whether you work with a therapist, or whether you work with a friend, this is why whatever path you take, changing takes so long and it's so painful. Because changing your expectation and aligning it with reality is scary, man. It's a scary thought to say, man, I'm divorced, mom's tripping. The reality is I might not get to see my kid and build a relationship with them until literally the day they turn 18.
And you're telling me that as it pertains to me, because you know my situation with my daughter, you guys know it too, I would have less anxiety, less stress in my life if I accepted it just might be like this till she's 18.
Do you want to know why?
Please.
Because the other side of that expectation is that when she's 18, I don't have this opposition from this parent. I don't have to deal with that anymore, and neither does the child. The child can choose who she spends time with, how she spends time with, and that means as long as I can be patient, right? Be patient. And as any parent, right, there's going to be discord with your child, whether they grow up in the home with you or not, right? In our minds, there's this expectation that, okay, if I don't see them, there's going to be more discord. I grew up in a house with my mother for all 18 years. Unfortunately, I haven't spoken to her since June. Make it make sense. So again, this expectation of there's some way to avoid discord in a relationship with another human being is unrealistic.
Now, with all due respect to your family and not,
Absolutely.
telling anybody's.
Absolutely.
Are you telling us something that you lived through where your father had to maybe change his expectation and say, "Hey, son, one day you'll understand, and I'm here when you do"?
So, I will share. I know we got a little bit of time here, and I'll come back and go into more detail for those that are curious. But my father and mother got divorced when I was 2.5. My father used to just see me on weekends. Then I moved to upstate New York when I was 6. My father only saw me about once a year for about anywhere between a week to 2 weeks, once a year until literally, ever. I would only hear from my father about every 4 to 6 months. Okay, my father has a lot of history. Some he couldn't choose. For instance, I realized the other day my father has been depressed since he was a child and no one noticed it. Okay, my father had a literal brain injury that literally led to him being disabled and nobody cared. They just called him stupid. So he has a lot of history, but he also made a lot of choices where it's like, you could have done more. So let me make it clear. My father was not there. My father sat in my apartment a year ago when I was separated from my spouse and told me how all that stuff broke him to the point where he was present, but not really actively present in his next 2 kids' life because he was that broken. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm taking these as excuses. Being empathetic and understanding while still holding him accountable. You still should have been involved. You still should have done more. So what I'm saying is that my father thinks, like many fathers, he missed out on the most important time in my life. Like literally, he's mentally shattered from it. That's what he told me. My former spouse asked my dad at the time, and she said, what's your greatest accomplishment in life? My dad, without hesitation, said him.
How many children does he have?
3.
Wow.
And she was like, no, your greatest accomplishment. He said without hesitation again, him. And he explained it and everything. So let me break this down. My father thinks he failed because he wasn't present and couldn't teach me too much from 0 to 18. But do you know when I really needed my father?
When you were 18, 19, 20, 21.
And mother now, when I'm a parent, when I am a father, now. I need him now. And that took him a while to heal those wounds, but he was so stuck on 0 to 18, he forgot about 19, 20, 30, 34, 35, 40, 45. So stuck on 0 to 18, he forgot that, dude, that's literally not even a quarter of my life. A little less than a fourth of your life.
Okay, Professor Henry, we don't bash women on this channel. But darn it, we're going to hold them accountable right now. Can you please look into this camera and let these women know? Some are ex-wives, some are ex-girlfriends, some are just baby mamas. And some of them are so bitter, so angry, so diabolical that they think it's appropriate or cute or funny or revengeful to literally try and keep a kid away from their father. What you're breaking down to us right now is that's a child's game. Because, God willingly, your kid outlives you in years. There's going to be so many more years after that birthday. Like, you're blowing my mind right now, and I think a lot of people watching this, you are giving us that new perspective. But what do you say to the mothers who still think that they have tricked the system because I'm going to get child support for 18 years, or I'm going to humiliate him and make him angry by not allowing him to easily be in touch with his kids for 18 years. What do we say to that woman?
I'll say to them what I said to you and what I heard said to me one day. They will grow and they will know.
Come on.
Let me say it again. They will grow and they will know. Now, it might take them a few years to dig up the truth. It might take them a few years. And I had a student recently, just to give y'all all a story. I have a student who I taught when they were a freshman in high school. They just turned 20 recently. They told me, they called me. They are dealing with, unfortunately, quite a few mental health issues, mainly due to the fact that they're now a legal adult. They reach out to their father father calls up the mother and is like, hey, by the way, my son has this idea that I haven't wanted to see him when you've been keeping him from me. Now, she doesn't know she's on speakerphone and he's listening to all this. The boy's listening to all this. And he's hearing a conversation of how the mother just lets all the truth out.
The mother's talking to you?
Talking to his father.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, I apologize. My former student is listening to a conversation where his father and mother are talking. And he finds out that mom has been lying for well over 10 years. Mothers, you need to understand that all of us, including you, have a desire to know our creators. Now, we hear that a lot in religious terms of knowing God, but let me help you understand that knowing your creators is a three-party thing. It's God, the mother, and the father. And yes, we want to know God, but we want to know our mothers, and we also want to know our fathers. And let me make it clear, when you don't know not just where you come from, but who you come from, it causes distress. When they go to form their...
My baby only needs me. My baby just needs me. I birthed my baby for 9 months. My baby don't need nobody but me. That man don't love my baby. What about the culture of making women think that those thoughts are okay?
Delusion is the ultimate destroyer.
I wish we still had bumper stickers because that's good.
Does anything else need to be said?
We're back, y'all. The camera battery died, but I want to say thank you for talking to us as a father, as somebody who lives in family court, not willfully, but it's just a reality. Sometimes we need to just hear what you just said, especially from another man who understands marriage, understands fatherhood, understands baby mama drama, just understands and is able to break it down to us literally to a science. I can't say thank you enough. Please tell us, how can somebody, if somebody, they're like, yeah, I got to hear more of this guy, where do they go on YouTube to hear more of you?
So you can look me up on the Simply Fundamental podcast, where we talk about, like I said, the fundamentals, your relationship with yourself, others, and money. You can also shoot me an email, askmrhenry@gmail.com.
And what's the name of your YouTube channel?
So my YouTube channel, at Ask Mr. Henry.
Too easy.
Right? Simple, straight to the point, right? I like to keep things simple. I depend on people like you, Kev, for the flashy and to get. I'm here for the hearts and the minds of people, but I'm not necessarily an entertainer. So, for those, you will be entertained, but just know my heart is to serve people, literally what I call door to door. This right here. We have enough organizations, but we don't have enough relationships. So if you reach out to me, this is what it's going to be like.
I love it. I think people are going to reach out. I just want to say thank you. This is Father's Win. Guys, I know we weren't in a courtroom today, but I felt like it was my responsibility to bring noteworthy, honorable people around to help us navigate
I appreciate
this life of co-parenting, because it can be hell. And there's so many times where, you're just driving down the street and you see a billboard of a woman with a black eye and she's got some tears coming down her eyes. And it's like, are you in trouble? Call this number. We'll help you.
I'm in trouble, Ken. I'm in trouble. You know how much weight I done gained in the last year? You know how much I done struggled sitting in a chair? I need to get my life together. Right. It's funny, but it's not funny because you've seen it.
No,
You've seen it. You've seen it.
Nobody.
You've seen it. I've been there. I don't mind making fun of myself. Right. I've been there. When you sit in a chair and all you can do is just, you forget to eat. You don't look at so many walls. You don't think you looked at every aspect of your life.
My dad used to tell me all the time, my brother and I, he'd say, you're a man, no one cares. It was just a reality he would always tell us. He'd say, guys, no one cares about what you're going through. You're a guy. You're expected to figure it out. So make sure you're making decisions or you're hanging around people who can help you figure it out. You are one of those people who can help.
And that's what I was about to say. We gotta remind ourselves of real expectations, reality. The reality is they may not care about men, but they care about you. Let me say it again. They may not care about men, but they care about you. I forgot the camera's off for a second.
No,
but they do. They do. They care about you.
Yeah.
And you have to remind yourself of all the people that care about you.
One day